ES6, now rechristened ES2015, is coming soon to a browser near you. However, it's currently available if you use the ember.js transpiler, which happens to be included for free in Ember CLI. So, we can use these new features with abandon in our current Ember projects. Today, we're going to be showing ways that we can create functions without having to use the word function. These will be shorter and more concise and easier to read. Let's take a look first at one of the old ways of doing things. Here are the classic functions. Here we're assigning a function to the save keyword under the actions hash in the Ember controller. And then later here, we're making an anonymous function to be executed after the promise gets back from saving. This is it in ES2015 functions. This is shorter, but it doesn't have any less information. It has the exact same amount of information in a smaller form factor. Let's look at the two transformations we use to make it shorter. The first is in method declaration. Here we have save, function. And down here we have the same information with just save and then two parentheses. We're able to lose the colon and the word function. These are useless bits of detritus that we no longer need. So we have the same amount of information in a smaller form factor, so it's more clear and easier to read. If we want to add an argument, that's easy to do. We just put it in between the parentheses, like we would normally. The second transformation is called the fat arrow function, and that's a way to make your anonymous functions more efficient. There's two things it does. First, it eliminates the need for the word function and replaces it with a fat arrow, which is fewer characters. The other thing it does, perhaps more important than saving a few characters, is that it preserves the scope. So here, in order to get this of the outside scope, we have to assign it to controller. If we just did this.doThing, then this would not have the scope of the Ember object surrounding it. It would be a new scope, one that did not have the doThing function. With the fat arrow, it preserves that scope, so we can call this.doThing and without having to assign it before entering that scope. There are still some uses for the classic function keyword. An example is when we don't want to keep the scope, when we want to change the scope. For example, when we're using ember.computed, we need the function keyword rather than the fat arrow, because if we use the fat arrow through some interaction with how Ember works, it now refers to the window rather than the Ember class around it. So here, this will get an error, or it will get null because there's no wind on the window. Notice that when we get access to ES2016, and when there are a few changes in how Ember takes advantage of those decorators, we will be able to use this, which does eliminate the function keyword, using decorators and the method shortening that we talked about before. So slowly, the uses for the word function will be made redundant. To review, here's the classic, and here is the much shorter, much more information-dense ES2015 version. If you're using Ember CLI, these are two tricks you can use right now to make your code slightly better. I hope you enjoy your improved code.